All right, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing good today. We got Fed speakers speaking again. We had the Fed Minutes event yesterday. I don't think Jerome Powell is speaking today during the Fed Minutes event. Let me see. The Fed listens. Looking at some news this morning. Let's take a look. So we got Tom Barkin and Michelle Bowman speaking today at 12:20. So we'll see. It's about elevating what works. 2025 Investing in Rural America Conference. Powell's supposed to speak at 2 p.m. at 2:40 p.m. Sunday. So we'll cover that as it happens. All right. So we did have some news about the salt or the. So CNN's Fox posts on X, quote, just got the speaker, House Speaker Johnson. He says they will try to vote tonight. We had China gaming regulators granting license for 130 domestic and 14 imported online games in May. We had mortgages show up this morning. Mortgages showed up higher at 6.92%, getting closer to 7%. US MBA 30-year mortgage rate currently is 6.92%. We had Porsche CEO says it's evaluating different scenarios for U.S. tariffs. Does not plan to set up production in the U.S. We had a couple of earnings reports. We had like Medtronic's earnings, a couple other ones for earnings season, kind of rearing the end of it. We had Target earnings, miss EPS, miss revenue. Target is down pretty significantly here. If we take a look at Palantir is still sitting at 125s. You can see Target's reacting negatively to their earnings. They're at 94.50 for Target. So Target's down. They posted 130 EPS versus 169. Expected revenue of 23.84. They expected 24, so they missed EPS and revenue by a significant amount. We had the South Korean finance minister when questioned on the report of U.S. demands for a stronger KRW. He says currently in the working level talks on FX rate, but details are yet to be finalized. Boeing reportedly nears key 737 factory milestones, signaling that manufacturing on the plane is back on track, according to Bloomberg. And Punchbowl saying it's hearing an argument from the House Freedom Caucus that Speaker Johnson could delay a vote on the package, but we're getting other news that's saying they might get that done tonight. And again, the U.S. House Rules Panel is, quote, still meeting on the bill after working overnight. No sign of amendment making final changes, according to Bloomberg. Former Bank of Japan official says that the Bank of Japan wants to hike further. It will need to do so this year before the window of opportunity shuts. And this is according to the Wall Street Journal. We also had some OpenAI news this morning where their biggest data center secures $11.6 billion in funding, according to the Wall Street Journal. And we use up to 50,000 NVIDIA Blackwell chips per building. If we take a look at NVIDIA here, NVIDIA is down a little bit today. But honestly, nothing's down too much. We're mostly pretty flat. And so we're going to look for either a range or a range break today in our trading. That's kind of what I'm interested in, a range or a range break. But again, yesterday was pretty quiet. Yesterday was pretty quiet. And then today, we also had TJ Maxx. They posted 7:30 in 10 minutes. Wix, VFC, Lowe's BDPS missed revenue. So kind of mixed results there. This is after Home Depot over the last few days has influenced retail. Home Depot originally reacted really well to their earnings, and then they kind of gave it all back yesterday during market hours, and now they're kind of flat after dropping their earnings report. Originally reacted really well. Let me know if the music's at a good level. It looks like it might be a little too low. Yeah, UNH dipped down yesterday. It's now at like $300 a share. Can y'all hear the music? Let me know if you can't. Let me know if that's good. Yeah, UNH stock after dipping down huge percentages and then rebounding back some to 320s, it is now back down to $300 a share. Looking a little heavy this morning. HSBC downgraded them from hold to reduce adjusted price target to 270 from 490. New congressman's first stock tanks 45% after betting on UNH before fallout. Somebody got in too early on that one. All right, we did have a Chinese statement to the WTO. U.S. trade talks are an important step to bridge gaps, but multilateralism is needed to find a way out from the global trade turmoil. So this news was just posted here. Palantir's down a little bit today. You can see the Chinese statement there. We're going to put it on our... U.S. House Speaker says agreement to hit that 40,000 SALT reduction was reached. And if you hear me talking about, if you hear me talking about the SALT or the SALT tax, it's state and local tax deduction cap is what they're talking about. It's a big point of contention right now in politics. There's an ongoing debate regarding the one big beautiful bill tax reform, originally capped at $10,000 in 2017. The SALT deduction limits the amount taxpayers can deduct for state and local taxes on their federal return. This has been particularly burdensome from residents in high tax states like New York, Cali, New Jersey. I mean, I'm for reducing taxes, whatever that means. We'll see if they get a deal done with it. Yeah, look at the NASDAQ. It's at a early morning rebound after opening up more red than normal. Palantir starting to dip down a little bit. So Palantir at 125s right now. All right, so raising the SALT cap deduction basically allows people to reduce their taxable burden, especially in high income earners and high tax states like New York, Cali. These taxpayers pay more in state and local taxes, property, and income, so being able to deduct more from their federal taxes reduces their overall tax burden. Homeowners in areas with expensive real estate like Cali, New York, higher property taxes mean they benefit more from a higher cap or no cap at all. I'm trying to see if it helps me. No, the SALT deduction cap does not apply to rental properties. I mean, it's a business expense, so I could deduct it anyway, but... My problem is I don't ever itemize. I always just take the standard deduction. Oh well. Yeah, let me do a poll here, guys. Let me do a poll. Which way does the market trend today? Bull trend, bear trend, sideways trend. I'm gonna go with sideways, but I don't know. We had sideways day yesterday, so I think maybe, I don't know what we're gonna get today. We're kind of sideways so far, but we got a big range still. What has to do with property tax, Ed? So if you own property in some of these states, that's what it has to do with. Let me see if there's any other big news. Again, like I said, chat, this morning we had Target miss EPS, miss revenue. It's now down. We had Baidu, BDPS, beat revenue. TJ Maxx hasn't reported yet, although they're slated to drop in about a minute. We'll see what TJ Maxx does here. It's not really a big company, but we'll watch it to see the reaction. We had Lowe's, BDPS, miss revenue. Kind of mixed results there. Medtronic, BDPS, beat revenue. Yeah, I'm not awake. Yeah, you could deduct property taxes is what it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't have mortgage interest, state or local taxes. I don't contribute to charity a ton, not in the conventional sense. I don't have a ton of medical expenses, and I don't have any casual or theft law from federally declared disasters. So itemized deductions doesn't make much sense to me in that regard. Standard deduction's easier, which is about $15K. Reducing my taxable burden by about $15,000. Yeah, property taxes. Oh, so TJ Maxx did post numbers. So TJ Maxx just posted quarter one 92-cent EPS versus 90 expected. Slightly better. You can see it drop right now. Look at TJ Maxx fall here. Revenue of 13.11 billion. They expected 12.99. Expected 3% for SSS plus 3%. Expects to repurchase 2 to 2.5 billion of stock in fiscal year 26. Maintains fiscal year guidance. So TJ Maxx is down on this. Slightly better than expected, but I don't think it was good enough. You can see Palantir start to fall down. You know. And again, we did have China release a statement, said the U.S. trade talks are an important step to bridge gaps, but multilateralism is needed to find a way out of the global trade turmoil. Yeah, Palantir is up 66% year to date, over 500% over the past 12 months. It reached an all-time high of $130 on May 14th, which is only about a week ago. It's trading at about $125, only about $5 down from its all-time highs. Certainly relevant to watch. AI hype. It did good earnings as well. A lot of strategic partnerships with XAI and TWG. The forward PE ratio is approximately 198 times projected earnings. Majority rate the stock as a hold in analysts. So we're going to keep watching PLTR, see what happens. Yeah, property taxes is what gets me, because I think property, like, I'm okay with income tax, and even sales tax I'm okay with. Right? I mean, I'd rather not pay income tax if I can get around it, but like you got to just grow to accept some taxes here, and I'm okay with that. And I pay lots of taxes. The problem is that if I own a property, I want to own it. Like, I don't want to have to pay tens of thousands of dollars a year just to keep it. That seems ridiculous to me. And the fact that you got to pay income tax, sales tax, and in some instances tens of thousands of dollars a year in property tax just to keep properties that you technically own is crazy and unnecessary, and it's a wild overreach. Yeah, it's just wild. It's unnecessary. You know, now to be fair, it depends on where you live. Texas, everybody always talks about, ooh, no state income tax, but Texas has some of the worst property taxes. But there is no state income tax, which is good. But in some places you're paying, 2.5%, 3% a year in property taxes. Like, and again, I've done this before just to show people this, but like, look, so if you're paying that much in property taxes, let's say you own we'll make it a little bit more reasonable. Let's say a $600,000 property, right? Like, it's a little bit over the average home price, but let's just call it $600K. In some places, you're going to be paying 3%. You're going to be paying $18,000 a year to keep that $600,000 property in Texas. That's freaking crazy. It's ridiculous. It's unnecessary. It's way too high. Now, in a lot of places, it's less than this. So, like, in a lot of places, it's, let's call it 2%. You're still paying $12,000 a freaking year just to keep that property. That's crazy. That's way too much. That's way too high, especially with how much home prices have gone up in Texas and really across the country. That's way too high, property taxes. They need to reduce it. I think Louisiana is like 1.5%, which is still too high. So you got a $600,000 property, which, to be fair, in Louisiana, that's a nice house. 2%. Still paying $12,000. Still crazy. So $7 this month. Yield max. Rent income is limited to 3 units too. Wait, what do you mean? So you say if you own 3 units of rental property, you only have to pay property tax on 3 of them? If you own 5, you only have to pay property tax on 3, I mean? That would be great, honestly. Florida is like 0.89%. Yeah, that's the way. 0.89%. That seems like a better. Wait, you said it's 0.89%. Yeah, that's reasonable. $5,000 on a $600,000 property, reasonable. Okay, I'll pay that. You know, I'm personally here. I'm not going to say how much my property taxes are, but I'm paying a lot of property taxes every year, and it's a lot. So you pay property taxes, income in 3, own 6. What do you mean? Explain that, Esteban. In Iowa, is the average house price $80K? That can't be true. That can't be right. Let me see. Canada? I'm curious. What is the average property tax in Canada? It is 0.5 to 2.5%. So it's honestly pretty close to us. Depends on where you live, I bet. But Texas, freedom. You know, 3% property tax. Yeah. Anyways. All right, guys. So, look, we did respect this level up here, this 350 level. We're going to keep watching it just because we respected it. We dipped right down to 325, too. So, I think we got to watch 325 and 350 right now just to base things around it. We're still trading small. We're basically having really slow, boring days. I'm not really super interested in taking a lot of risks right now. Next week should be fun, though. Next week should be fun. I'm interested to see what we get next week. All right, guys. I'm going to start just playing the 200 exponential a lot, I think. Like, I'm just going to start playing the 200 exponential. Looking at our poll number, so we asked people, are we get a bull, bear, sideways trend today? 44% say bullish trend, 35% say bearish trend, 21% say sideways trend. If we take a look at bond yields this morning, take a look at the 10-year Treasury yields. We are currently over 4.5% this morning, over 4.5%. We are at 4.529%. So we're over 4.5%. You can kind of see what we've done. Which is we've spiked up again today, up over 4.5% right now. What's up, Sam? Wait, what is Chicago property tax? Is it 10%? No, it can't be 10%, dude. Nobody would own a property if it's 10%. Yeah, but bond yields spiking right now. Spiking. If we take a look at gold, gold's up a little bit today, but it's basically sideways. It's been sideways all morning for the most part. A lot of stuff has been. Like, a lot of stuff has been pretty flat and boring. Not really moving like you want it to move. We got over 500 people here already. I just want to say I appreciate you guys. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, man. We appreciate it. It's been fun growing it to this level where, you know, honestly, I started live streaming when not a lot of other people live streamed. Like, when I started live streaming, not a lot of other people live streamed. And I know, like, some people are just putting in big gains, all this crazy stuff. Most of the time, they're just burning accounts on the back end. Let's just be real here. And then they're cherry picking the big gains they make, and they're saying, "Look at how much I made today," when really they might be losing twice as much on the back end. And so, yeah. But we started live streaming when a lot of people were not live streaming, and we kind of stuck around. A lot of channels came and went, but we stuck around, and I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much. We found our niche here, and you'd love to see it. Wait, okay, so how much is property taxes in Chicago? I gotta look this up. Hold on, let me look this up. Look at this market spike up here this morning. Look at this. We just spiked up here. This could be news related. Look at that candle. Average property tax in Chicago is 2% according to Ownwell. This is significantly higher than the national median of 1%. The Illinois state median is 2.35%. Wow. That's kind of crazy. It's basically about $2,000 for every 100K you got. It's similar to Texas, to be honest. So you got a $700,000 property. That's going to be $14,000 in property taxes. Look at this spike, though. We kind of went up to this 350 level. I don't know if anything happened necessarily to drive this push, but we're looking. We have TJ Maxx. The EU and Germany talk with all players in the U.S. on Russia sanctions. Quantum stocks have obviously been going crazy. Yeah, look at QBTS. These quantum stocks. This morning, this thing hit $20 a share. It's at $18 for QUTS. Look at this trend right here on the bottom, chat. Look at QUTS here. Look at this thing. That's a crazy move, to be honest. That's a crazy move. Will it hold? Is a good question. Will these quantum stocks hold? Is a big question. Hey, what's up, Mitch? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Are you trading this quantum stuff, Mitch? Because this stuff's going crazy, bro. Look at this. Look at this stuff right here. That's a crazy move. Crazy move. I like AMD today. I don't know. Bro, in Canada, we pay 55%. Yeah, I mean, that's, you know. I love Texas, kind of. I love Texas, but it's also incredibly hypocritical. Texas will be like, yeah, freedom. Texas. No ballot initiatives, super high property taxes. You know, the people who control everything here in this state are like dinosaur politicians. But people who don't really understand and they're just going by stereotype are like Texas, freedom. You know, chat. There's not even ballot initiatives here. Like, you can't even vote on what you want here. You know, you got to let some 80-year-old politician choose to go through with it, even though 90% of the public here wants something. That politician might be getting PAC money against it and say, no, we're not going to do it. But freedom, Texas. Yeah, Rigetti. Crazy quantum gains here. Crazy quantum gains. Yeah, it's all pros and cons, I think. But yeah, but I think in certain areas, Ryan, you have to have ballot initiatives. Like, you have to be able to vote on things that you want done. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to vote on things. You can't leave everything up to them, and then, because what ends up happening is this, right? What ends up happening is politicians get all these donations from big companies and the wealthy, and there's caps to these donations, but they get these donations from big companies, pharmaceutical industries, like the biggest, most elite things in the world, and they get all this money, and so when they make their votes, that's what they vote in favor of. Like, I think you have to have ballot initiatives to let the people vote on things they want to do, because without that, the politicians are just going with where the money. You can turn everything into a story and make it seem justifiable, but in that regard, the politicians are just going with their donors, which are usually the most elite entities in the world. And so because of that, yeah, I don't know. Looking at IONQ, QMCO to play the catch up. Yeah, bro. Quantum stocks are going crazy, man. It's been kind of a quiet week. We don't really have any big economic reports or data this week. It's been kind of boring. But what we do have is interesting stuff going on. We got the Fed listens of it. Not really big. Tomorrow we got jobless claims, unemployment, and some other stuff. Like, we got jobless claims, manufacturing, PMI, existing home sales. And then we got a couple more speeches tomorrow. Powell speaks on Sunday. And then next week is a crazy week, in all honesty. Next week we got durable goods, consumer confidence. Monday the market's closed, by the way. Tuesday we got durable goods, consumer confidence. Wednesday we got the Fed minutes report. Thursday we got GDP. Friday we got PCE data and Michigan consumer sentiment finalized data. Last time was the prelim data. And last time the University of Michigan prelim data was not freaking good. It was not good. Inflation expectations rose. Consumer sentiment hit the lowest point. It might have been. Let me see. Let me have. I use AI to reference too much stuff, and sometimes it's not the most accurate. I'm going to try to use it here. United Health breaking down today. It's at 300. Let's ask AI. The prelim University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index for May dropped to 50.8, marking its second lowest reading ever, just above the all-time low set of 50 in June of 2022. This decline represents a nearly 30% drop since January. AI showing up, reflecting deepening concerns over among Americans about their financial situation in the broader economy. Now, there's three major points to look at with the University of Michigan data, and honestly, we had that data on Friday. We had the Moody's news on Friday as well, where Moody's downgraded the U.S. for the first time since 1917. Now, this was the third credit rating agency to do it, the last of the big three to do it. We had one in 2011. I think it was S&P, Standard & Poor's, downgrading the U.S. in 2011 to AA plus. From AAA, we had Fitch ratings 2 years ago in 2023 downgrade the U.S. To AA plus, I think, and then finally we had Moody's Friday last week downgrade the U.S. So it was just the finalized version, but it was the first time Moody's has ever downgraded the U.S. The ratings for the U.S. credit are still good; they're not the best anymore, though. And again, the University of Michigan consumer sentiment data marked its second lowest reading on record last Friday at 50.8. And this is prelim data. The finalized version comes out next Friday, 2 weeks away from this. And again, there's three major factors contributing to this low consumer sentiment. Number one, obviously, is tariffs, because 75% of consumers mention tariffs as a explanation on why they're concerned, up 60% from April. 60%. Inflation expectations were freaking high. The year ahead, 1 year inflation expectations in the Michigan report showed up at 7.3%. 7.3%. This is the highest since 1981. That ain't good. High inflation. A lot of people are going to yell stagflation with this report. Weak economic data because of the tariffs and high inflation fears. Stagflation economy. A lot of people are going to argue. While long-term expectations rose to 4.6%. So still up, which is the highest since 1991, driven by tariff fears. Now, we did get a kind of a China deal done where we got a 90-day pause, and it's looking more and more likely that we're going to get a deal done under this 90-day pause. But Still fears. About 2/3 of consumers now anticipate rising unemployment over the next year, the highest since 2009, indicating anxiety, obviously. But jobless claims, inflation rates have remained pretty good. Jobless claims have been low. Inflation has been low. And so we might be okay. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think we'll hit a recession in the next 12 months, chat? Let me know. We got the FOMC minutes report. It's not the actual FOMC meeting next Wednesday. It's the FOMC minutes report is what it is. UNH can't get hammered too much longer. Yeah, I mean, UNH, the market's very flat. I mean, right now when you look at it. It's bouncing off 350 and 325. UNH is down huge amounts since, UNH is down from $600 down to 250s. So, and again, this is part of a bigger drop for UNH. It was at 630s. UNH is down 50% basically right now. Where it's sitting now, about almost exactly 50% from 600. We got NVIDIA earnings next week as well. So we got NVIDIA earnings, Fed minutes report, PCE data, GDP data. It's all going live next week. We'll cover it all. Yeah, Bitcoin getting very close to all-time highs. It's up to 108,000 this morning in futures. The all-time highs in futures are 110, so it's getting very close to all-time highs. It's back down to 106 today, but yeah, getting very close to all-time highs, very close. Yeah, Target dropping this morning after reporting bad results on both ends of the metrics. Bad EPS, which is margins, and then bad revenue, all the way down to 94.60s. So just a bad look for Target. Not looking good. Honestly, I like Target as a company, though. I really do. Every time I go to Target, I spend tons of freaking money, and I hate it. The PE ratio is still pretty good for Target, I think. And I don't honestly mind Target. You know, if I could buy, I don't know. I'll think about it. Anyone buying quantum stocks? I've heard a lot of sentiment about shorting them on social media from like multiple different people are thinking about shorting quantum. Do you guys agree with it? NVIDIA falls with good earnings? Really? You think NVIDIA is going to fall? I don't know. Maybe. All right, guys, we're testing 350 right now with the NASDAQ. Very sideways trend for a lot of different stuff here. Bitcoin around all-time highs. Microsoft at 450s. We got Nvidia still sitting over 130 though, and that's a pretty good sign. Long on quantum. Yeah. I'm sorry for being late, but did this report come out yesterday? Which report? Depends on which report you're talking about, to be honest. Yeah, it depends on which report you're talking about. 30-year over 4.5% right now, which shows a higher interest rate sentiment. It essentially means the market is fearing a recession, as well as, or no, I'm sorry. It essentially means the market's fearing inflation. I should correct. Inflation is what it means. The market fears higher interest rate sentiment overall. So. All right, so we're still testing that 350 level here. Dude, sometimes AI will just send you nonsense. It'll just send you nonsense half the time. How do you feel about Meta lately? You think the A model delay ain't as bad as they are making it? I mean, Zuckerberg wants to be better. Yeah, the 10-year treasury yields are currently, it's not the 30 years, it's the 10-year treasury yields. 10-year treasury yields currently 4.52%. We did have the 30-year NBA mortgage rate show up this morning, and it showed up at, okay, so we did have some UNH news. I think it showed up at like 6.96%. For the 30-year NBA mortgage rate. Let me make sure, though. Hold on. Let me check. Let me confirm this. Sorry, I had to... Looking for that. There's the 30-year mortgage rate. Yeah, so the 30-year NBA mortgage rate showed up at 6.92% this morning. We also had bond yields spike up as well. The 10-year yield is at 4.52% right now, 4.52%. The NASDAQ has been very flat this morning. Look at this. We're chopping between 350 and 325 basically all morning. Target dropped 30s. Palantir still at 125s. I think Meta is going to be fine, most likely. I do think Meta is up a lot, though. And I think for Meta to succeed, they need to get involved with AI. I think Instagram, while people still use it a lot, it's hard to compete with the big TT. And, yeah. I mean, Apple has dipped over the last few days, but Apple is still doing okay, you know. Like, Apple is at 206. right, so we're back to 325s here. We have been chopping sideways. Let's see if this 325 level holds again. I'd love to buy a dip at 311s. Okay. Checking some stuff here. Bear with me, pun intended. Pretty good here. I'm checking some stuff. Well, yeah, pretty good. Let's check a 5 minute. Five-minute looks pretty good too. Couple fake outs, but not too bad. Okay, yeah, looks good. I will keep this up. Okay. Save. Okay. Got it. All right, so we're breaking down. We're at that 200 exponential moving average here. Let's see if we can buy this dip. This is a big pullback here. So we will buy one micro contract. Keep it small. Easy. See if we get a bounce back up to 325s or so today. We're at the 200 EMA. We can play with this and see what happens, but and again, one thing I've been working on is a little bit longer term trades. All right, so we had the SOFR rate at 4.27 versus 4.29%. Mexico retail sales showed up at 4.3% this morning. TJ Maxx posted numbers. Yeah, I mean, we're going to cut it if it breaks too much. Although, again, just to put this into perspective, this is $14. I've been trading very small, man. I'm not trying to give a lot back. We had to scale down our size in this market. I'll probably have to cut it soon, though. It's a big breakdown. Oh, it's a nice little retracement back up. The market did turn, though, to the downside some here. There's a big follow through. We'll go ahead and cut it and just wait, I think, now. We lost like $22 or something tiny. Market's just too sideways, man. Maybe we could buy the bottom of the range and scalp the top. But the last 2 days we've been mostly flat. We lost a little bit, but we kept our risk very tiny the last 2 days. Yeah, I don't know if the bill is going to get done today. We had some ECB members speaking. So we did have a UNH update. Let me show you guys this. And something that you'll see me try to do is, like, I'm entering with very small size, taking very small risk. I'm looking to get into the green where I can add to it. But, you know, one thing that you've seen me do a lot is, like, I'll enter with very small size. I'll either get stopped out, lose $20, and then just kind of wait, or I'll give it a lot of time to see if it can kind of come back and fight its way back. But it's just really going a little bit too much. So UNH, on a Guardian report to a nursing home, says the U.S. Department of Justice investigated these allegations, interviewed witnesses, and obtained thousands of documents that demonstrated big factual inaccuracies in the allegations. So UNH is basically disputing some of these allegations. They said in a Guardian report, again, that the DOJ investigated, interviewed, and obtained thousands of documents that showed that there was inaccuracies in the allegations, is what UNH is saying here. With this news, you can see UNH is actually rebounding up a little bit. It's up to 310s right now in markets, 310s. Yeah, I think the time to buy it was a few days ago. We talked about it. I didn't end up buying it. I thought it would probably go up, but I just didn't end up getting in it. Palantir is mostly just flat. It's still $5 away from all-time highs. This move down is going to be bigger. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I just think at a certain point it becomes too extended on the downside. You know, like here, it's a big drop, man. I think even if it's super weak, it's still probably going to bounce. It's very unlikely that stocks continue down after that big of a drop without taking at least a pit stop of a bounce. And that's what we got. We got up to like 325s. Again, it was too risky for me here. Typically I buy stuff like this long term if I'm interested in it, and I just don't know if I want to hold UNH long term with the stuff going on right now. It's too risky. Yeah, it's been a boring week, honestly. We don't have a lot of economic reports. We got the Fed listens report, but Powell's not really speaking in it. So, yeah. Seeing if we got any other news going on right now. So we got Fed speakers later on today. I don't know how much they're going to move markets. Typically, Powell speaks at the Fed listens event, but I don't think he's speaking this time. So yeah, typically Powell speaks. It's such a slow week though. Like we got jobless claims tomorrow, which is good, but it's been boring, man. So we did have what did we get? We did have TJ Maxx show up. We'll start posting some of these on social media. All right, Target, Baidu posted earnings. Target had a big miss, though. TJ Maxx, Wix.com, VFC. Lowe's ended up posting beat of EPS, missing revenue. Do y'all think Lowe's is going to go out of business? The last few times I've been to Lowe's, which isn't often, it's looking pretty quiet there. You know, when I go to Home Depot, it's usually pretty busy. But Lowe's is looking a little quiet. I think they've turned for the worst over the last 10 years or so. Less people go there versus Home Depot now for some reason. All right, market broke under the 200 exponential. Now it's just kind of chopping sideways. It's their product's return policy, maybe. Not the lows here, man. Yeah, I could probably see that. The contractors are hitting up. Home Depot a little bit more. We did have the South African budget for Treasury, says 25 and 26 consolidated budget is seen at 4.8% of GDP versus 4.6 in March, and 27, 26 seen at 3.8%. Hot dog stand at Lowe's? I stopped eating hot dogs, to be honest. Listen, I love hot dogs. I love chili dogs, like chili cheese dogs. I could eat that every freaking day. I really could. The problem is that they're not good for you. They're just not good for you. Especially if you're not, like, they're just not good for you. They have nitrates in them a lot of the time. They're just terrible for you. Yeah, that might not be bad, RV. Using organic bratwurst and stuff, maybe. And I love chili dogs too, man. Like, I really do. Looking at the daily, a slowdown suggests a correction in what? Yeah, futures. I see. Okay. All right, so we're starting to bounce up a little bit on the NASDAQ. Still pretty flat, though. Again, 10-year Treasury bonds still up a lot. 4.55% is what they're looking at. If we take a look at the rate odds here as well, like if we take a look at the rate odds on the CME Watch tool, it's still looking pretty probable we're going to pause rates. At this point in time, it's looking even less likely that we're going to cut rates next month in June. So here's the June 18th expectations now for this, and it's currently at 98 to 2% likelihood. 98% of a pause, 2% of a cut. So it's looking like we're not going to cut in June either still. So these odds have changed. Yesterday this was 8, 9, 10% or something like that. Today it is 2% odds of a cut, 98% chance odds of a pause. If we take a look at July, it's still looking like 74% likelihood that we're going to pause in July. If we take a look at September, it's still over 50% chance that we'll have a 25 basis point cut by September. 35% chance that we're still going to pause though. 13% chance we're going to have a 50 basis point cut. Now, it depends on what the economy looks like. You know, things that might influence this are next week's GDP data, next week's PCE data. All of these things could contribute to stuff here. So you just want to be careful. Unemployment will force a rate cut. In what regard? Yeah, I mean, I don't use too much footprint charts. I'm not saying they're not good, Sam. I'm just not used to using them. Yeah, oil finally back up this week. Yeah. Was under 50 for a little bit, though. So it was under 50. Yeah, but I mean, South, just to be fair here, and again, I'm not really one that roots for or against a politician. I'm very neutral on all that stuff. I don't care about any of it. But interest rates have been high for years. Prior to him, interest rates were pretty high. The interest rates being high right now have to do with inflation that we got following 2020, right? Like 2020, the Fed lowered interest rates, did a bunch of economic stimulus, QE money printing. They sent out stimulus checks, supply chain problems. All of that stuff led to high inflation by 2022. In order to combat that, the Fed then raised rates like 500 plus basis points, I think. And then they kept rates high for a year straight. And they did this to combat inflation that was spiking up, depending on which metric you look at. CPI inflation had got up to like 9.5% or something like that, 9.1, 9.2%. And so the Fed did this really restrictive, hawkish monetary policy to combat inflation. But the consequence, obviously, was higher interest rates everywhere, universally higher interest rates, right? And we're still dealing with the same, basically the same interest rates that we were dealing with back then, 6%, 7%, 5.5%. Like, they've been around that 1.5% range of 5.5 to 7%, sometimes higher over the last 4 years since inflation spiked up to 2022. So just to be fair, I don't know if we can blame that on the president right now because interest rates have been high now. And if anything, he's been pushing for rate cuts, and Powell hasn't really wanted rates to go down. I think Powell fears inflation, so I'm not saying Powell's wrong, but I think that's what's going on. All right, I love you.
Love you.
Have a good day. All right, UNH rebounding a little bit. We did get a bounce right around the 200 exponential. That long trade might have worked, but we consolidated so long, there's almost no way I would stay in that long. Yeah, Discord's free. You can join it. It's free. Is that a fake pawn that just joined this morning, guys? It is a fake pawn that joined this morning. Or no, wait, this was 2 days ago. Good day to you, fake pawn. There's another fake pawn that joined. Let me ban him. Anybody, like, look, if we message you, it's not us. Almost certainly. It's not us. Like, we're not going to randomly message anybody. You know what I mean? We're not going to randomly message anybody and get you to do anything. Definitely not send you a link or something like that. So if somebody did, that's not us. It's a faker. They're trying to get you fishing. They're fishing for your data. All right, dude. Hey, I love you, buddy.
Love you.
Have a good day at school, dude.
Okay.
Hey, study.
Okay.
Study. Study.
Alright, love you, Daddy.
All right, love you, buddy. Yeah, they got about 3 fake pawns that joined. Mortgage rates follow yields. I know they do. But mortgage rates follow all of it. And you know, you got to understand. Powell, okay, let me put it this way. Okay. Mortgages. Okay. Powell had the chance to end QT for mortgages. Instead, he reduced the cap on treasuries 80%, and he kept QT on mortgages the same, which was a hawkish stance, which kept interest rates in mortgages higher, not lower. And so in that regard, the Fed's still doing a restrictive thing in terms of QT on mortgages that they haven't reduced like they did on treasuries. And so that is certainly contributing to keeping interest rates higher. Powell also hasn't been cutting rates. I've said this once, I'll say it again. I would rather us go into a mini recession with higher interest rates and let inflation and price stability be there than cutting interest rates and spiking inflation again. It's a little bit of a simplified version of it, but I personally, my own bias is I would rather have price stability for a few years. And I think Powell's kind of on the same page, but just to clarify, like, the reason interest rates are higher right now in a lot of ways isn't purely, like, you know what I mean? I think people would play the politics game too much, and people latch on to different things. In the end, there's a lot of reasons interest rates are high. If anything, Powell's been pushing, or if anything, President's been pushing for rate cuts anyway. If we did have tariffs, Powell would have already lowered rates. Maybe. You know, that's implying that tariffs are causing inflation fears by the Federal Reserve, and that might be true, you know. But at the same time, I think we can lower interest rates, and the tariff thing, we have a 90-day pause to most of them now, and I think a lot of people are going to argue we should have cut rates. We should have ended QT on mortgage MBSs, which would make it a less restrictive thing for mortgages and interest rates. But, you know, again, my point is it's nuanced. No, my Discord is definitely free for everybody to join. Somebody joined it already this morning. Doesn't cost anything to join. You can join it. Doesn't cost anything. All right, guys. Also, if you haven't already, check out TopStep. TopStep gives you a 50K demo. They test your skill with the demo account first. If you pass the test, they fund you 50K, 90% split. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. The base one is $50 a month. It's not the end of the world. It's the best way to learn day trading. Most day traders lose, right? So listen, if you put up your own money, you put up 5, 10, 20 grand of your own money, let's just be real here. You're probably going to lose it. It makes no sense to do that. Absolutely no sense to do that. Like, okay, you'll look cool in the market. Who cares, bro? You're probably going to lose tens of thousands of dollars funding your own account when most day traders lose their first couple accounts in the first year. It's called market tuition. And so you can pay that market tuition funding it yourself, which is, again, not very smart. Or you could try a funded account program. The base one on TopStep is $50 a month. They give you a 50K demo. They test your skill with it. If you could pass that test, and again, in order to pass it, you got to make 3K in profit without losing 2K first, following their rules, reasonable 3-to-2 ratio. If you can do that, they fund you 50K. You get to keep your first 10K in profit and then 90% split afterwards. So it creates this situation where you're learning how to trade in a structured environment. You're learning how to follow rules. If you fail, you're out $50. If you pass it, it's similar to funding your own account. You get a 90% split. You get to keep your first 10K in profit. It's the best of both worlds. Limited risk, similar reward, and they pay out hundreds of millions of dollars to their traders. They fund thousands of traders. It's the best way to learn. And if you use my link, go to TopStepX, you get 0 commission, even more edge on top of it. Super reasonable rules and tons of great resources. Remember, though, I'm biased because I get paid by them. Some would say I'm the top 3 most biased person of all time ever in the world right now. Understand, definitely biased. Top 3 most biased ever. If you want to check them out, here's the link. Understand CFTC 4.41, hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations. Understand all this stuff on screen. I can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Don't copy me. And yeah, understand all this stuff. Can't guarantee anything. With that said, it's now pinned at the top of the chat. You can also find it in the chat right now. John, my company is not doing well. Did you see target earnings? How is your... I see target earnings. They came in, missed EPS, missed revenue. But what does that have to do with your company, I guess, is my question. John, do you think he can kick out? I think he can put pressure, Ray. If we're getting technical, they're independent of each other. So if we're getting technical, the Federal Reserve is not a government entity. So they're not supposed to be able to, but what they can do is put pressure. They can put pressure and they use their political influence to do it. So can they? In a way, yes. But even the president has said it's unlikely. And again, in some contexts, I would agree with Powell, where I'm okay with having a restrictive monetary policy, a little bit higher interest rates if we get price stability, which is what we desperately need. Most of the reason people are unhappy modern age, I should have held that long. Most of the reason people are unhappy modern age is because of the inflation that we've seen over the last 4 years. We've had ridiculous inflation relative to 2019, 2020. Prices in a lot of industries are 3 or 4x what they were, sometimes higher than that. That is why most people are unhappy modern age, right? And again, if inflation gets worse, people are really gonna be unhappy. And so I think a lot of people think that lowering interest rates is somehow the solution. I think it's a slippery slope, and we got to be careful. But I think you could also argue on at least one 25 basis point cut in June, but I don't think we're gonna get it. So basically, I'm torn on the matter. Yeah, I just said hey too. All right, so NASDAQ's pushing up a little bit. Again, we're trading very small right now. We're not really trading super heavy. SOXS, isn't that the microchip ETF? What is this? I think I've seen this before. Yeah, it's a short microchip ETF. Sounds like a horrible idea. And with that said, I mean, look at look at this thing. Sounds like a terrible idea. I mean, I guess if you think you could short this to go long in microchips at $11 a share, so I guess there's ways you could play it, but yeah. On the other end, though, Dan, I think a lot of people would also argue that the real reason we had inflation problems post-2020 was supply chain issues, the stimulus checks that were sent out, as well as the QE that happened in 2020. And so just lowering rates, cutting rates might not cause the big inflation problems and that a lot of people think it will, but it's certainly not going to help inflation. All right, market's still pretty freaking choppy. Look at this dip. Market's coming down a little bit here. Look at this big red candle, guys. Wow. Baidu executive reports that AI cloud revenue in Q1 for China was 6.7%. Something going on right now? Look at that candle. Whoa. So, breaking news, Jerry Connolly has passed away. I don't know if that's what's causing this, but rest in peace. All right, so we had Canadian new housing report show up just now. Again, nothing big here. This is nothing. The 8:30 news release is not big right now. Yeah, we had minus 0.4% for the Canadian new house. What a name. The Canada new housing price index month over month at minus 0.4% versus a positive 0.1% expected here. So. All right, look at this dip. We're at 300s here, 21 threes. We got Barkin speaking at 12. There's a lot of puns to be had here. I'm just going to avoid that, though. But, yeah. This looks kind of bearish, no? That's a big red candle here. Again, the Canada New Housing Index showed up negative. Like, part of me wants to short this, but I've been the top 3 worst trader of all time this week. Medtronic confirms plans to separate the diabetic businesses through two-step capital market transactions. Yeah, so Medtronic news coming out. I don't want to short this. I think I'm just going to wait, though. I really do. I think I'm just going to be patient and wait here. All right, so I should have shorted it, but again, I think I'm just going to wait. I think it just makes more sense to wait right now. We got less than an hour before the opening bell. Looking at our poll numbers, 49% think we're going to have a bullish trend today out of 800 votes. 49%. And this is versus 30% thinking bearish and 20% thinking sideways. Yeah, again, I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to over push this morning. I'm looking at other news to see if we got any other breaking stuff dropping this morning, but yeah, we had a surge in Japanese yields. Japan's 30-year bond yield just rose 3.2%, putting it up 100 basis points, which is a full percentage point since April 7th. That's a 45% jump in yields in 44 days. At this rate, will be at 4% by June, according to one of these letters on X.com. We'll see. Alright, chats. Do I want to short this spike? It's tempting to, for sure. I guess we'll try shorting one micro contract. Just one. Alright, we got a little bit of moves down. The range is so small here, though. Like, one micro contract is barely anything. Looks like it wants to break down, but we'll try to hold this flat if it doesn't work. This week. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this right there and just take the profit. Very small, but trying to get into some green trades, trade a little light. We got the little rejection here, and I just think we're choppy enough to just lock in profit. I might have to switch to regular mini contracts with the range being this small, but we made a little bit on the trade. I'll take it. Green is good. What was I trying to add here? Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to wait. There you go. There it is. We'll wait on that one. There we go. Okay. Where it is. So I could have held that short, but. Yeah, so the Medtronic news, we had ECB Centeno saying that the interest rate to prevent inflation from falling under 2% may have to come below the neutral rate between 1.5% to 2%. Yeah, look at that short. Would have worked perfect, too. Would y'all agree the technicals and fundamentals on Bitcoin look good? Maybe. I mean, I like Bitcoin. All right, look at that breakdown. So that breakdown would have worked. All right. Philip 66 has survived shareholder vote against Elliott in a 2-2 split. Yeah, I should have held that short. Tesla and Apple left holding. This could go bigger. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking a look at Tesla here. And Tesla's still up a lot. It's at 350s. 350s. We have Apple sitting around 205s. 205s is like a big level in Apple as well. Like 205s is it's not a small level. Do we keep breaking down here or what? What do you guys think? Okay, let's try this. Sorry, I'm kind of building something in the background here. I'll show you guys in a second if you guys want to see it. Let's see if this works. So we're getting a rebound back up. Again, I'm still tempted to short it, but I'm just going to wait. I don't think being too aggro this morning is the right move. I think just waiting. See if we can find some better stuff. What do you guys think? Do we think we keep going up? So there's a little bit of a rejection. The 200 exponential is right around 310, but we also have 300 right underneath us, or right above us, I should say. So we're going to wait on that. Apple's breaking down again. Tesla, interesting. Palantir still sitting at 125s. Tesla kind of flat, though, since yesterday's close. Tesla went up all the way to 355 even yesterday and then dumped. Google pretty flat. A lot of stuff did a very similar thing yesterday. I think the market didn't like the Fed listens. Let me ask. Hold on, let me check. Let's see, when did this happen? This happened around 12. The Fed listens event was then, so maybe that influenced it. S&P had been on a 6-day winning streak. Tariff sustainability fears. Investors are waiting marks from the Fed. Why did Apple? This looks catalyst driven. Now, maybe you guys can answer it. Look at this drop. This looks like right when the Fed listens talks started. Yeah, we talked about Japanese interest rates this morning already. All right, so we're still rejecting right around the 200 exponential. We had again, the activist investor Elliott wins 2 board seats in proxy fight at Phillips 66, which is PSX. 2-2 split via semaphore. I don't know about Chainlink. It's not really what I'm super interested in. Yeah, a lot of people watching to see if the bill passed. And specifically, we got some news regarding that bill. On the U.S. tax spending bill, Punchbowl Sherman tallies Andy Harris, Thomas Massey, and Chip Roy are all no. Yeah, so that's what's going on right now. We do have the Fed listens report today. All right, we're going to be day trading towards the opening bell in about 40 minutes. Market's still kind of stagnant. Would you guys trade with the last money you have? No, I wouldn't. I don't think anybody should. That's a terrible idea. You know how much pressure is going to be on yourself if you're trading with the last little bit of money you have? It seems unnecessary and just kind of risky, right? Like, why would you trade with the last bit of dollars you have? It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense personally to me. You know, like, trading's hard enough. Especially, but when you tally on, hey, you have to make money, that's a hard standard. And I think you can't really do it like that. I think you have to understand variance, and variance is absolutely real, you know. And so you got to be okay with losing, I think is the point. And I think, yeah, I think having to make money is terrible. That's why people always talk about, hey, should I quit my job to day trade? No. Do not quit your job to day trade. Not unless you're already making money or you have a huge edge that you've back tested for an extended period of time. And so unless you're able to do that, you just got to be really careful and understand. Like, wait until you build up justifiable profit, you know, first. Yeah, I'm trying to show you guys what I'm building in the background, but AI keeps getting this wrong. Let me see if I can see why. I'm trying to, as a program, I'm trying to look to see what the error is. Are you in UNH? No. Your job is like free money to trade with? My job personally, or you're talking about anybody's job? What's going on with the bond market? Well, we can take a look at like TNX. Most stuff's flat this morning. Here's TNX. Bond yields are opening up higher again, over 4.5% right now. I make $60K a year and really want to quit my job to day trade. Don't. Yeah, we might have news about the bill. I'm looking at it right now, but right now they tally Andy Harris, Thomas Massey, and Chip Roy are all no on the bill. So we did reject the 200 exponential again. We're at 308s. All right, Motorola Solutions is nearing a $4.5 billion deal for Silvus, according to Bloomberg here. Markets are very flat, chopping under the 200 exponential. All right, so we're going to have to do something different. Okay. All right, so we're still tallying up and down under here. All right, the CEO of Spain, Sabadell SAB, says everybody talks to everybody in the sector, but there's no possibility either in short or medium term for other banking deal in the midst of BBVA bid. Oil has been trying to go up, but it's been decreasing over the last few minutes. Honestly, oil's been trending really well, though. That VWAP level for oil. Like, look at how much oil respects the volume-weighted average price if we put the VWAP. Oil futures. Looks like something I might want to trade, to be honest. Because, like, look at oil futures. We got a 1-minute chart here. Like, look, when I put the VWAP up, which is the purple line. Look at this purple line on oil, dude. Like, look at this. Look at how well this thing respects it. VWAP. 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 Like, every time it goes up to the VWAP level, it holds. All right, so yeah, we're watching oil, and again, look at oil. Palantir still quiet. All right, let's pull this back up. Get this out the way. New window. Refresh this. Still problems. Nah. See if I can add this. All right, testing the 200 exponential at 310s now, roughly 310s for the NASDAQ. All right, guys, so we got about 34 minutes left. 34 minutes left. Finally. It doesn't stay. All right, so we're now back over the 200 exponential. Let me see what oil's doing. Oil is right at the 200 exponential. Palantir is starting to test the previous closing price. So you can see the previous closing price at 125.60 here. So let's see if we can get back up there or not. Yeah, sorry, I gotta keep error problem solving here. But we're back over the 200 exponential, signaling more of a choppy trend. I'm not really seeing much. Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna stop taking pictures. Oil can have some really clean moves. Yeah, no. What time does oil close? I was talking to somebody on Top Step TV a while back about this. I don't really trade oil, never have, but it looks interesting to be honest. Yeah, I think to be a good day trader, especially to learn, you need to have multiple income sources in order to really like profit from it. It takes time. Like you can't day trade with your last bit of money. That sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? Instead, you need to have an abundance of money and trade with something that you're okay with losing while you learn. Either that or, like I said, go to a funded account program. In this regard, Top Step is much better versus funding your own account. Because like on Top Step as an example, no PDT rule. You can day trade. If you're good enough to pass it, you get a 90% split funded account. You get to keep your first 10K in profit. If you fail, you're out $50. So you can get started for much less. Instead of needing like tens of thousands of dollars, you need $50. And Top Step pays out hundreds of millions. They fund thousands. Greatest platform right now, in my opinion, in futures. You can check it out right there. Again, they're an affiliate of mine. I'm biased. Confirm it all with them first. So Reuters poll on the U.S. economy, all 41 polled said that the president's policies have hurt the economy. 23% said significantly. So you can see the link right there on the Reuters poll. Do y'all agree with this poll right now? NASDAQ's starting to head back up. I agree. PLRZ. All right, now we're coming back down under the 200 exponential. What I see right now is a trend like this. Like, look, I think we got a clear trend line right here. And then I think we probably got another one like right here. So I think this is kind of the trend. It's probably a terrible drawn, but like I could probably pull. Let me see if we got a parallel tool. Yeah. So like, look. Should have maybe gone a little bit higher here. Let me see if it lets me move it. Yeah. All right, so like here's the trend right now. I think it's pretty clean trend too. If we open this up here, like look. So I think that's the trend right now that we're in. And I can look at the dip here as well. I can't guarantee it. Not an investment professional. Don't copy me, but I think that trend looks pretty clean. All right, so oil going down under the 200 EMA, still struggling. Palantir popped over that previous closing price and then just got dumped back down. So Palantir popped over it and then just got dumped back down. Finally, bro. Okay, so we built this indicator here. I'll try to show you guys what it is. Okay. Sorry, I just gotta find the arrow size here. Plots. All right, so let's see if we follow this trend. We got 325 above us. Oil's breaking down a little bit. Let me see what bonds are doing still. We haven't traded very much at all. We're basically flat on the day. Had one green trade, one red trade. Fed speaks this evening at 12, or this afternoon at 12, I think. Yeah. So I think we speak at 12. I don't know how much it's going to move markets. You know, usually Powell speaks at this, but for whatever reason, Powell ain't speaking at this one. Oh my gosh, bro. I swear, dude. Alright, we're just gonna have to go back to the old one. All right, so we're still coming back down, respecting the top of the trend line. Bond yields are starting to pump up a little bit more. We're at 4.54%. We hit 4.545 this morning. It's been a quiet morning. We don't really have a ton of stuff going on, but we're going to cover markets as they happen. Where's the dollar at? Here's the dollar index. Dollar index is under $100, but flat over a longer term chart. We took a look at a daily chart. The dollar index did break under 100 for the first time in a long time. Early April. It's back down under that. It's at 99.64s right now. Market's still trending sideways. Yeah, so we have what's called the Fed Listens Report, which is every once a year we do a Fed Listens event. Most of the time Powell speaks during the Fed Listens event, but today he's not. I think we have Bostic and a couple others speaking. So it's not Powell this week. Powell speaks on Sunday for something different, though. save this real quick. The 5-minute one is pretty solid. Let's see the 1 minute. Okay. Honestly, what's weird is like, so check it out. So we built this indicator here. We call it trend power or trend power. I'll show you guys on the chart right now. It's pretty solid. I'll try to break this down for you guys so you can see it. This is what I've been working on this morning, most of the morning. On a 1 minute chart though, it seems to be more accurate here. And it looks to be really good at predicting, like, look at it. So I'll show it, put it on the chart right now. It looks to be really good at predicting short-term price action. Let me make sure. Okay. Good. Okay, good. Yeah, so check it out. So I'm going to change these alerts. But, like, I like these. So, like, look. So here it showed up right here. Nice follow-through on a 1 minute chart. Here it showed up here. Nice follow-through. Showed up again here. Nice breakdown. So, and you can keep going back and looking at this here. Like, look at this one. So again, this one showed up here. Nice follow through. Showed up here. Nice breakdown. So it looks to be pretty accurate if we're looking at like 5 to 10 candlesticks in the future. This one worked here, follow through. This one didn't really work, so that's one that didn't work that I see, maybe two. This one didn't work either, so that's two that didn't work. But in general, I think what you got to do is you have to wait for like a favorable point in time. Like if you wait for like a good part of the day, like look. So if you wait till right before the opening bell, solid. Right before the opening bell, solid. Right before the opening bell, solid. Buy signal here, follow through. Sell signal literally right at the top. Breakdown on a 1 minute chart. So if you wait for like early morning, it looks to be kind of, you know, volatile. But again, if you put this on during market hours here, like look, here's it during market hours. Sell, follow through, sell, follow through. This one didn't work. This one we got a little follow through from it, but and more importantly, it didn't get faked out here when a lot of stuff did. So I really like this one that I've been building. So the FDA is taking steps to enhance state importation programs to help lower prescription drug prices. We'll see if they do it. We got 15 minutes left. Powell does speak on Sunday. Yeah, I mean, today's pretty slow with news. We don't have a lot of stuff going on right now. We don't have economic reports today. We don't have... Most of the stuff is very boring right now in markets. Like, this whole week has been boring. Next week, it kind of makes up for it because next week we have NVIDIA earnings. We've got PCE data, GDP data, jobless claims data, Michigan data, the Fed minutes report, consumer confidence data, and more next week. So we got a lot of stuff next week. This week kind of compensates for it with a pretty slow time. Wait. All right, so look at this breakdown. We're still in this trend. Let's see if we hit the bottom of this trend line here. I'm not going to be too specific, Austin, about what it does. For now, I'm kind of keeping it more proprietary. but that's just because I don't know what I'm going to do with it. We'll see. All right, still breaking down under the 200 exponential, still falling down in this trend line. We'll see if we hit this bottom at like 264s, 265, see if we bounce around that number. Palantir starting to come down a little bit. The Dixie's still pretty low. We can take a look at like Nvidia here. Nvidia's almost back up to 140s. Nvidia is only about like $20 away. Wait, let me see. $20 is not a small percentage, just to clarify, but Nvidia is, yeah, Nvidia's like $18 away from all-time highs. Which for Nvidia, I mean, it might seem like a lot. For Nvidia's range, we can start testing all-time highs if we get a good run from it. We got 15 minutes left until the open bell. I think you mean repaint, Brent. You're asking basically, does it repaint? No. Yeah, that's one of the first things I look at when I'm building one is no repaint. Yeah, so I just did a little update to it as well. All right, so we got a little pop, still downward trending for most stuff here. Meta all the way down to 631s. It was at almost 640, so Meta's actually gapping down a big amount here. I guess the delaying AI is causing problems. Still looking at market news here, but trying to find some other news. The effective federal funds rate right now is still 4.33%, hasn't changed, and it's looking like we're going to pause rates again in June. Again, we had the news article a couple minutes ago. All 41 economists said that the president's policies have hurt the U.S. economy. 23 said significantly hurt. So, U.S. CPI will be 3.1% in 2025 and 2.8% in 2026, according to a poll. Again, CPI 3.1 in 2025, 2.8 in 2026. So they think inflation is going to get a little bit better next year. I think we'll probably see more rate cuts as inflation gets better next year too. A question that you guys have, how many rate cuts do you think we're going to get this year? 13 minutes until the open. Can it, yes, it can make grilled cheese, I think. All right, we're still down though here. Watching Nvidia. 13 minutes into the open, guys. Like I said, I'm trading kind of slow this morning. Not a lot going on. Markets are pretty much freaking choppy, flat, boring. Not good. As we get closer to the open, though, we'll get a little bit more interest. All right, like I said, let's look at let's look at 265 to see a continuation of this trend. We're at the bottom of this trend line now, though. So if we continue in the same trend that we have on our charts, we could have like a rebound anywhere from now all the way down to 265. I'm not saying that's what we get, but that's what I'm looking at in the NASDAQ trend here. EDBL just got hammered. Yeah, this is why I don't like penny stocks. Like, people get all about penny stocks, bro. But, like, you know, and you'll have people like, ooh, the patterns. Like, let's talk about this pattern, guys. And it's like, bro, penny stocks are wild. Dude, you can get T2 halted at, like, you can get a stock that looks strong, goes up to highs, gets immediately halted, gaps down 80% from the halt. You know what I mean? destroying everybody's money in the trade. You could lose literally everything you invest in a penny stock day trading pattern. It's one of the most difficult things to predict. The market's mostly propped up on people selling courses on how to day trade penny stocks. Don't fall for it. Most day traders lose. It's probably much higher in penny stocks as well. But maybe I'm just biased against it because I suck at penny stock trading. That's probably, possible. That's plausible, Yeah, I'm still looking back on some of these codes. They look okay. I think the only way we'll get a rate cut is if the president... Yeah, maybe. Absolutely true. It's pretty true. I mean, look. Everybody wants to believe that you can day trade these super small cap things that are cheap, that, like... You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to believe that you can day trade these things. The reality is, like, because everybody wants to believe you can get started for that less. Like, oh, bro, $2 stock? Bro, I wish I could day trade that and make some good percentage return consistently. The problem is that if it's too good to be true, it probably is in that regard with penny stocks especially, I think. But, Still break it down again. Let's see if we get that bounce at 265 like we were talking about. But yeah, EDBL is a good example of penny stock nonsense. Ugh, y'all be careful. Why are you not interested in trading the S&P or gold? I trade a little bit of everything, to be honest. Gold honestly looks interesting, but gold has been... Okay, so gold has been basically flat for... Basically all day gold's been flat. So you can attack a choppy range. But I think, like with gold, you have good news and bad news for gold. I think it's hard to predict right now. Long term... I like gold as an inflation hedge, but short term, it's a little variance heavy right now, in my opinion. But I look at the S&P, I look at the SPY, I look at the E-mini as well. So it depends. I like the Nasdaq because there's typically a little bit more volatility day trading the Nasdaq. Like the S&P has less volatility, a smaller range when you're day trading it. The Nasdaq has a little bit better range, a little bit more volatility when you day trade it. So it depends on like what's moving, if that makes sense. And again, I really haven't traded today. It's kind of boring. I've traded twice. Green trade, red trade. But, there's some days where it's just really difficult to make money. I don't know if that's today. I think some people could probably find opportunity to make money, but... Like, honestly, on social media, it's kind of... bad if you do, bad if you don't. If I trade too much and lose, people are like, you suck, bro. If I wait to trade, they're like, you're boring, bro. You're not doing anything. It's like, yeah, because there's nothing to do. I've been waiting until the opening bell to trade. I think the last couple days, especially yesterday, has been very flat and boring and difficult to make money in. So I've been kind of trading very small and light, waiting for some good edge to wake up. I think this whole week's kind of boring in terms of volatility. I don't think we have a lot going on volatility-wise right now in markets. I think we got tariff news and we got the president speaking every freaking day and all that stuff. But I just think it's kind of boring, if that makes sense. And of course, some people are going to disagree with me, and that's okay. You can disagree. Yeah. All right, so look, we hit that 265 level. We just tapped it, basically. I could buy the bottom of this range here, but we're probably too close to the opening bell. We got 6 minutes until the open. Let's see if we bounce right here. We hit the bottom of the range. Tell us a story. What kind of story? All right, so look at this bounce. We got one right at 260s, 265s, 262s, really. A scary story? Nah, I'm good. All right, guys, look, we got a pop right there at the bottom. I should have bought it, but we're probably too close to the opening bell for me. We got 4 minutes left until the open. Yeah. Look at that. There's the bounce. I should have taken it, but again, we're 4 minutes until the opening bell. Yeah, Target had bad earnings this morning. All right, so White House economic advisor Hassett says if the U.S. gets 3% growth, the tax bill pays for itself. We are going to get more than 3% growth, is what they're saying. I'm not saying I agree with this, but that's what they're saying. Again, the White House economic advisor Hassett says if the U.S. gets 3% growth, the tax bill pays for itself. We are going to get 3% growth, they're saying. So, win Lambo? Mañana, mi amigo. We got 3 minutes left. Chat, 3 minutes. Oh, wait. Can you see this? Hold on. Let me see. Oh, yeah. Here. There you go. All right, chat. 2.5 minutes left. Very boring. Right now, chat. Very boring. Trade with your eyes closed. I do that in jiu-jitsu sometimes. We had a coach, one of the first coaches I had, used to make us do like little mini rolls without keeping our eyes open. It actually helped a lot, believe it or not. It actually helped a lot. All right. Till the opening bell, we got 2 minutes until the market open. Sunday, Monday, happy days. All right, guys, so we got the bounce at the bottom of the trend. Again, we got 2 minutes, a minute and a half until open. So we're just going to wait. All right, guys, we got 1 minute left. Hit the live button next to the play button. Hit the subscribe button. So Lowe's expects Q2 comp sales to be above the 150 basis points above bottom end of fiscal year outlook. About 150 basis points above the bottom end of the fiscal year outlook. So that means low. That means a little bit towards the bottom end. And yeah, Lowe's is reacting negatively to that comment. 45 seconds, chat. Hit the live button next to the play button. Make sure you're fully caught up on stream. All right, guys, here we go. I'm going to put NVIDIA up. We got gold on the chart. Here's NVIDIA. I'll put a 1 minute chart up here. And we'll just wait. 15 seconds. 15 seconds. Hopefully we get some good stuff, man. All right, there's the bell, chat. There's the bell. Palantir spiked up a little bit, just a big opening range. NVIDIA does have a green candle so far. Doesn't mean it's going to hold this, though, so just be careful. Taking a look at everything else, though. Meta's going up a little bit at the open. So is Google. Apple's going down, though. So Apple's falling. Microsoft's going up some. What else we got? Netflix. Netflix is up a little bit. Amazon dropping. Apple dropping. The rest of the stuff's mostly moving up, though, this morning. So we're getting closer to that 200 EMA and the top of the trend line, though. We're too close to the opening bell for me to trade here, but yeah. All right, we tapped the 200 exponential right here at about 3s. Palantir went right up over the previous closing price. And then rejected here. We got NVIDIA at 134s almost. NVIDIA's still trying here, though. We're hitting the top of this trend line, though. Like, look. Microsoft's still pushing up right. Meta's pushing up good. Apple's rebounding back up some. So it kind of looks strong, to be honest, here. It's too early after the bell to take it, though. But yeah, so look at that. Here's 325s up here. Look at Palantir. Go green on the day. Palantir's green. NVIDIA's pushing up, trying to go green. Meta's pushing up. Microsoft's pushing up. Google's pushing up. Again, Amazon's still red since the opening bell. And Apple is still red since the opening bell also. The SPY itself is up. Again, it's pretty green. It's up to almost 590s on the SPY. Gold is pushing up a little bit since the opening bell. We got bond yields still testing highs, but not really moving. Yeah, so we broke out of this trend here. Very strong movement now in markets. We're only 2 minutes into the open, though, so we have to wait to trade. I'm not going to trade this early. All right, still green. Look at Palantir, chat. Wow, Palantir up to 126, almost 127s here. Will it test all-time highs today? It might. Google's ripping up a lot with it as well. Microsoft's starting to pull back some, though. Amazon bouncing up a little bit, and so is Apple. So all right, we're pushing up here, chat. Look at Palantir up to 127s. Google up big too. It's almost up to 167s. Most things are pushing up this morning as we speak here. If you went long when you wanted to, I don't know, man. It was at 260s, 265s or so when we talked about the bounce. Again, though, it's easy to look in hindsight and critique trades I should have made. I think right now it makes sense to just have like a risk-averse mentality, though, with everything going on. We got a little pullback here. I'm gonna buy this dip right now. Maybe add a little bit to it if we can, but just buy a small little dip. See if we get some strength heading into stuff or chop. Pretty flat on the day leading into it, so we can take a little risk here and see if we get a little bounce. I think we could also get a bounce at 18, so I'll add down here, and then we'll leave it. It's still pretty flat on the trade, but down a little bit now. I like the retracement back up. We're going to get out a half of one here just to protect the trade, get out completely flat. Now very green. We will take this and cut it, and we made money on the trade, so that's good. So we got out green, net green on that trade, so that's nice. We got the bounce that we wanted to, and we talked about where we might bounce. We thought 17, it ended up bouncing at 13, but nonetheless it bounced. So, quick little trade. Again, I'm being really risk averse lately. Microsoft's still pushing up. I could probably buy this dip too, to be honest, but I'll wait. Wait for some edge if we can get it. Yeah, the channel's done, of course. Sometimes you can buy the dip to the channel though. That works a lot. Like, look, we break out of the channel, buy the retest of it here, and then follow through back up. That can work a lot. I'm not saying it will, but it can. Well, the channel's done, guys. This channel's over. So, like, look, this channel's done. Doesn't mean anything now. Maybe the top bottom of it will hold. We got the 200 exponential at 305. That could be a bounce level as well. But again, I got out just because I don't really see too much of an edge. Palantir dipping down to the VWAP here at 126.50s. We might get a bounce. It just depends on what everything else does in blue chips. Microsoft pulling back. Amazon just cracked lows of the day. Got down to 239. Apple's still rebounding though. So it looks like it's going to go up, but you never know. We're just going to wait. Google going up to 167s. Google just broke highs. Palantir right at 126.2, so looks like we're going to go up, but again, I don't know. Yeah. Choppiness over the last 5 minutes, though. Palantir actually coming down under the VWAP at 126. Palantir's not the heavily weighted stock that you want to watch necessarily, but it is part of the, is it the NASDAQ or the S&P? It's one of them. Maybe there's an argument for a dip buy at 305s if we get down there. So I think I'll wait for that, but might not get it. Nvidia's still trying. Still a lot of chop at the opening bell. Meta just broke highs since the opening bell. Might have been highs of the day. Let me see. Highs of the day for Meta are about 3 or 637. Yeah, Meta's over that. So Meta just broke highs of the day. Starting to push up. This 325 level seems to be some support, but Microsoft's starting to move up with us. Amazon bouncing a little bit. Google's been very strong since the open. Apple is still pulling back, though, getting a little bit closer to lows. And bond yields are actually falling down some here. So yeah, we're kind of quiet. I mean, we're still flat. We've had a green open for sure, but stagnated since moving up. I mean, I'm not a big believer in day trading penny stocks sideshow, you know, so anything that can go up to 630s, drop immediately down to 450s in a minute, and then go all the way back up to 580s and get halted is not something I want to trade. Like, there's so many different pitfalls in trading that. It just doesn't seem like a good strategy to day trade that type of stuff. But again, what do I know? Not an investment professional. But do what you do. Like, maybe you can make money in it. I'm not going to try. There's a bond auction today. Yeah, I mean, we got crude oil inventories at 10:30. We got some FOMC members speaking. We got like Bowman and Tom Barkin speaking at 12 for the Fed Listens report. We got the 20-year bond auction at 1 o'clock. Most of the economic reports we have this week for the U.S. are tomorrow. We got existing home sales, manufacturing, PMI services, PMI, jobless claims, unemployment filings. Look how flat the market is, though, guys. It's been very boring. Although Meta's still pushing up. So Meta, maybe you're going to break us out of this boring trend. Google testing highs of the day as well. The problem, though, is that, like, Apple has been testing the lows. Microsoft just turned down, too. So, like, some blue chips are going up, some blue chips are going down. This is giving us this really, really sideways trend here. It's not really looking enticing to me personally. Fed's at noon Eastern. Break even is absolutely a win. Yeah, for sure. Again, I'm just trying not to trade super heavy right now. I don't think the edge is very good the last week or so. I think it's been very boring, and so I'm just trying. Market just broke the highs of the opening bell, though, so maybe we're going to get some upward price action here. Nvidia's, oh man, where'd it go? Where was this? What's this at? I think it was at 325 right here. Yeah, so NASDAQ's pushing up some finally. Nvidia's starting to push up too. Amazon, Apple bouncing back a little bit. He's talking about me saying no. Corey. I mean, market is definitely boring sometimes, depending on what you're doing. Different, John? Okay. It's subjective, though. Some people are going to think it's boring. It's boring for me recently because I've been trading very light. Yeah, I mean, this could be a flag. It's not a really pretty one, though. Like, we can call it a flag, whatever this is. But I don't think it's a pretty flag. I mean, it's definitely strong looking right here. We held at 350. Here's the highs of the day. We're over that now. Hey, good luck, Sam. Yeah, I might try to trade Power Hour a little bit more too. I tend to do better, I think, then. Yeah, the strength showing up. Google's pumping up too, so is Meta. Palantir basically hasn't moved since 5 minutes after the open, the last 10 minutes. Yeah, I could buy a dip here. I don't mind 340s. I think we got some confirmations at 340s. So if we get a dip down there, I might buy it. And then I can use like 325 as a risk level, very small. Testing the top of this range at about 370 or so. Google's still breaking highs, pushing us up. Apple's coming back too. It's at 205s. Microsoft at 455s. See, I'm wondering if we're gonna have choppiness though. So if we're gonna have choppiness, we could be at the top of a range right now. I don't know if the edge is big enough for me to take it though. I'm just gonna wait. Let's see if 7.5 rejects it. It's right at the high. Maybe not. Bitcoin's still pushing up though, so Bitcoin's doing really nice. Bond yield's coming down too. Bitcoin up to 107s again. Yeah, so again, the president's economic advisor said we're going to get more than 3% growth. He said the tax bill pays for itself if we do. The CBO's 1.8% growth score is very conservative, they're saying. Nvidia's still pushing up. The previous closing price on Nvidia is at 134.40 here. 134.40, so it's moving up a little bit after the bell too. Yeah, volume's a little light, but it's not too bad, honestly. Yeah, I mean, I can take a little short here, but I'm not like the most confident. We got into a green trade since the opening bell, and I use like 83 up there as a risk, but we got one micro contract here, so very small. 83s. We tapped it. Nvidia just went green on the day though, so it got up to 134.60s. Again, this is one micro contract position, so we're taking very small trades. I just want to see if we come back down. We did test this level here. Still trying to get up there, but Nvidia's climbing. We're basically flat on this position now, but I want to give it enough time to come back down. I just don't want to see Nvidia on the short bounce at the previous close. We're back down there. The problem right now is Google's still breaking highs. That's kind of what's propping this up. And I don't want to get stuck too much in this. So, yeah, we're just going to have to cut it. Again, we're down like $40. We've been trading very small. I'm just not trying to risk too much today. I've been trading mostly just one micro contract. I was hoping we'd get a little bit more chop, but... Oil? Yeah, I mean, I saw oil this morning. Oil honestly has been rejecting every time it hits the VWAP level. Like literally every time it hits the VWAP level, it rejects. Yeah, we're right around the first half hour into the day. We got the German Chancellor speaking too. No, that's what I've been doing, SO, is I've been starting my trades with one micro contract. I've been trying to get like a deeper green position to add to, but we just haven't really got it, and that's okay. That's how the market's going to behave sometimes. Like sometimes the market's just going to go small against you. And as long as you can not be stubborn and not like force too much trading, it just keeps your risk really small. That's what I'm doing. Micros are powerful, I think, in that way, where instead of taking like 3, 4, 5 micro positions, you can take one. If it goes in your favor, then you can add more. If it doesn't go in your favor, like today, you can just kind of keep it really small on the day and live to fight another day. And I think that's important. Some markets are just account preservation markets where you want to preserve your account. Other markets are just risk on markets. We don't have any today in economic news. So remember, guys, tomorrow we got the unemployment filings report going live at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. So be ready for that. We do have that going live 8:30 Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Hopefully we get something good. Honestly, it's just been really boring lately in markets. And again, if you haven't already, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We do have jobless claims unemployment filings tomorrow. I'm probably going to get out of here. But again, if you want to day trade with me, Top Step allows you to trade micro contracts, 0 commission. Tiny amount of fees per micro contract trade, so I can take these micro contracts, very small trades. Top Step, best way to learn day trading. If you fail, the base one's $50. It's not the end of the world. If you pass it, 50K funded account, 90% split, and they pay out millions, fund thousands of traders. Just a beautiful way to learn how to day trade when most day traders lose money. And so if you want to check them out, I'll put the link up one more time. Great way to help support the channel. And Yeah, then we're just going to cut out and keep it small and come back tomorrow. Maybe we'll get some better volatility tomorrow because it's jobless claims, unemployment filings going live. Again, no PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell Gold. They give you a 50K demo. If you can make 3K on the base one without losing 2K first following their rules, they fund you. You can check them out. Use Top Step X if you sign up. It'll give you the zero commission link. But again, as I always say, not an investment professional. Not liable if you lose money. Have no idea what I'm talking about. Might be wildly wrong about everything. We'll see if we turn around and we have like a choppy day. It's possible. But I'm getting bored here. Not trying to trade too much. The more I sit here and stare at charts, I'm going to end up trading. So I'm just going to get out of here. Y'all be good. Have a safe day. Be safe.